remember I took my first pill when I was 21, and I probably did my first kind of amphetamines maybe a year or so after that, because I can be a little bit shy, and so a line will make me feel a bit more confident when I'm out and about and kind of stay awake. I think I was probably using speed when I first started using, and at some point ice kind of started to come in. And I'd always heard that ice made people more irritable, and it was this kind of much more hardcore drug. But my experience of it was actually I was more irritable when I used speed, and ice was kind of a nicer thing for me. I think it was before a Mardi Gras or something like that, got that friend to inject me. And then, it's true, the thing they say about the high that you get off injection. I was like, okay, now I kind of have a completely different understanding of this drug. But I also knew that because I liked it so much, I'd have to be pretty careful with it. So set really clear rules for myself that I would only ever inject kind of on a big occasion. So if it was a Mardi Gras or some kind of big thing, so I'd do it a couple of times a year. And the rest of the time just keep to kind of snorting the odd line. When my current partner and I got together, and about 6 months into our relationship, we started injecting together in the context of then kind of having sex and having a basically big weekend at home with each other. And so that use probably crept up to we were doing that maybe about once a month. And then realised that actually our tolerance was starting to go up, and sometimes the highs weren't as good. And so I've again backed off and set some rules for ourselves around we only do it a few times a year, and the rest of the time kind of leave the needles out of the equation essentially. It's for me, I think when I regularly check in on my drug use, and it's always an assessment between what am I getting out of it versus any potential negatives. And if at any point it feels like the pros are not matching the cons, then I kind of assess what do I need to do. There's been literally a handful of times when I've probably gone a bit too hard over a weekend, not drunk enough, not slept enough, and then it's taken me a whole week to recover because I'm super tired and my brain's kind of fuzzy. And so any time that I feel like I'm spending a bit more time recovering, or I'm a bit more sick, or those kinds of things are happening, it's a good check for me to go, well, hang on, are you using too much or too often, or what's going on? I essentially keep a track on how much money am I spending, how am I going at work, how's my physical health going, and if I feel like any of those things are suffering, then that's a real kind of sign to do something about it. Mostly, though, I found that kind of setting rules and sticking to them then prevents any of those things happening. I guess the harm reduction thing that I've done has been to swap to plugging instead, which gives a similar, though not quite the same kind of rush and effect, but carries less risk than injecting. And then to give myself some breaks where I don't use it all. So 2 to 4 weeks of absolutely nothing, so that body's just kind of got a break and my tolerance gets the chance to kind of wind down a bit. Plugging is all the same, but take the syringe off and you go up your ass. Your ass has got heaps of really absorbent tissue in there. And so it doesn't come on nearly as fast or as strong as injecting, but it comes on pretty fast and pretty strong, much kind of stronger than other things, other ways of taking it. Pretty much whenever I stop and remember that I should drink, to drink, and then really allowing the time afterwards to kind of recover, which again is lots of drinking, starting to get some food into me, and then making sure that there's a really big sleep. You haven't usually kind of slept for 24 hours, so you need to sleep for about 24 hours to kind of make up for it, not just get 8 hours and assume that that's going to be enough. I don't think I have a problem with my drug use, based on those assessments that I do across how are my relationships going, how's work going, how's my finances going, how's my health going. So I don't think I have problematic drug use.